Hello and welcome back. And in this tutorial, we'll be looking at how to build this simple movie app. Now, the main goal of this app is just to teach you how you can get APIs or use APIs to get data from the internet. So this is a very simple movie app called Flatflix, and all it does is just show you like these few categories. So trending movies, top rated movies, and upcoming movies. Now, if you click on any of the movies, then you are sent to the details screen where you can see the title and some more information. Okay, it's a very simple app. As I said, the main thing is for us to know how to use APIs to get data. So that's just the main thing, and this is just a simple UI. So without much delay, let's get on with this tutorial. Alright, so I went ahead and created a project and set everything up. You can find the starter project in the link below. So let me walk you through some of the things I have done. So first of all, I've added assets over here, and you have the Flatflix logo. Created this in Illustrator. And the other thing here is, if we go to the lib folder, you can see we have some colors. We have the home screen that you're looking at, and you have the main.dat, which I've cleaned up and just changed a few things. So the debug check banner is set to false, the title has been changed, and then I'm using a dark theme copy with. So if you don't know about this simply means that we want a dark theme, and then with the copy with, we are simply saying that, okay, give me the dark theme, copy along everything that the dark theme comes with, so dark colors, everything. And then with the copy with, we have access to changing some of the specific things. So for example, if I do this, so the dark theme comes with all of these things. So I can choose the card color and give my own color. But if I should just end with theme data.dark and leave it there, then I can't change this. It just gives me what the dark theme gives. Okay, hope that makes sense. And by default, Flutter uses Material 3 now, so that's in there. And then we are returning the home screen, which I showed you here, which is a stateful widget. And the other thing here is the pubspec.yaml. So I cleaned that up also. So we have the Google Fonts package. We have HTTP, which we are going to use for our HTTP calls or API calls. And then we have the carousel slider. And that's about it. And also linked up the assets that we have over here. So that's the setup I've done for this project. So if you find it, that's just all that it is in there. So let's get started. So in the lib folder, we'll be focusing more on the home screen. We don't need to do anything here anymore. So we go to the home screen, and I'm going to start by building up the scaffold and all of that. So in the scaffold, so if I wanted, I could have also given my scaffold background color here. It's a background color. Yeah, I could have done that here to give it a different background color, but there's no need since I've set that. So that's one way you can do it if you don't want to use the copy with and put in your own color. Okay, so just to show you, so I can set background color and just pick colors of amber, and when I save this, we should have amber over there. Okay, but since I've set that up already, there's no need to do that. So let's move on to something we need to do. So our app bar. So yes, in this app, I'm using an app bar, and what I'm going to do here is call the app bar constructor. Now I need to get rid of this const, or else we are going to have that error. And if I save this, you're going to have this ugly color. So for app bar, we don't need this ugly color. So what we are going to do here is, for the background color, we are going to set this to colors.transparent, transparent. And then, even though you can see this, we'll also set the elevation to 0 so that we don't have any elevation. So far that's what we have. Looks like we don't have anything in there. And then the next thing is for the title. So this is where we would have had like a text widget, and then we can say something like Flatflix. So you can do something like this and just have it show over there. And of course, we can go ahead and then turn on the center title property to true. and then you can have in the center, you can increase the font size. So in case you don't want to use like an image like I have done and all of that, then you can do it this way. But in this case, we are going to use the image. Now, if you look here, the title expects a widget, as you can see, which is nullable. It expects a widget. So of course, we can use the image widget. So what we can do here is go ahead and say image, and we are going to get this from our asset. So we have image.asset. Now the name here simply refers to where is this image, where is the path. So we know the path is in our assets since we haven't changed anything slash, and then the name of the image, you can easily check that here. So flatflix.png, the extension is also important. So let's go ahead and then do that. Very important. And if you are using I don't remember the extension name, but it will show you if you've got the path right. You can check it out. I have a video where I've gone through important extensions you can use in your VS Code. I'll leave a link somewhere. So now that we've done this, a few things we want to configure, and let me put this right. Okay, now this is much better. So we are going to set the fit to cover. So we are going to use box fit, and we are going to use cover. And the next thing we are going to do is we are going to set the height to 40, and then we set the filter quality to high. So filter quality high, and this simply means if you're using a high quality image, then it is going to also increase the image quality to match the pixels of the device, so that you get it a very sharper one. And if I save this, then you have this over here. You can play with this value. Okay, so if I go ahead and like say 30 and save this, then you can see the size that you have. So it's all up to you. Play with the value and see what you have, but I think 40 works perfectly. Okay, so now that we have that, we can go ahead and then start building the rest of the body. So the body for the scaffold here, so let's say body, we are going to use a single child scroll view because we would want to scroll. So let's say single child scroll view. And I usually like the bounce and scroll physics. Android doesn't really have that. So we're going to say const and then use the bounce and scroll physics. Oh, I forgot to add physics here. All right, so corrected that. And then the next thing we want is a column, since we'll be laying everything down in top to bottom. So the child of this is going to be our column. If I can spell column. And we all know a column takes some children. So let's get the children in there. Now I would want the text and everything to start. So let me add a text widget so that I can show you what I mean by that. So what I'm going to do next is add in a text widget. So let's have text, and then let's say this is going to say trending movies, something like this. And then yeah, I'll soon get rid of all of these things very soon. And if I should go ahead and then save this, you can see we have this trending movies really tiny over here. Okay, now if I go ahead and add another thing, so let's say for the sake of it, let's add a container and set this container's height to, let's say 300, and then a width of about 300 also. And then just so we can see it, let's set the color to colors dot anything that we can see. Let's say that, and let me save this. So you notice how the text has moved to that side. Okay, I wanted it to stay there, so that's what I meant by I want the text to start from the center. So for the column over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use the cross-axis alignment and set the cross-axis alignment to start, and that will make sure that the text starts from there. I hope that's okay. So at this point I don't need this, so I'm going to get rid of this. So after our text, let's style it a bit. So since we have the Google package, the Google Fonts package, we can go ahead and call style and then use the Google Fonts package. And then using the dot operator, now I think I use this first font. I believe so. What am I missing? Oh, I'm missing anything. I just messed up. And then for the color, I think it's already white, so there's no need to actually give it a color. And then we're going to use the font size of about 25. And I'm going to save this. Yeah, and that looks big enough. So this is fetching these fonts straight from the internet. That's why it took a while. So now that we have this, I'm going to calm down a little bit. And I'm going to give so what I want to do next is I'm going to create if you saw the main app, you saw we had this carousel where the images were scrolling. So what I want to do is I am going to use a size box as the main container to hold all of that, and then this is going to have a height of about 350. Yeah, I'm hard coding these. The main thing is the API calls, so I'm not really worried so much about responsive design. Okay, forgive me for that. Actually, I don't think I need a height for now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure it spans the width of the screen. So I'm going to go with the width rather, and then I'm going to say double dot infinity. So go as wide as you can go. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to return, sorry, not return, but for the child of the size box, we are going to use a carousel slider builder. Okay, and we need to fill in a number of these. So let me go ahead and see if I can format this. So we need an item count. So the item count is the number of sliders, if I can say that, you would build. So for now, since we don't really have anything yet, let's say 10 for the sake of it. And then we would need an item builder and a number of options here. So what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to cut this and then just bring this down. I like to put them this way. Okay, so for the options here, we are going to go with what is known as the carousel options. And for now, this is just fine. Let's work on the item builder. So in Flutter, most item builders would always return the context. And for the carousel slider, you would get an item index. If VS Code will allow me to see what I'm typing. Item index. And then also you'll be getting a page view index. So let's go ahead and add that. If you're wondering how I know what we'll be returning here, you can simply check the docs at pub.dev to see what you'll be getting. So we have a page view index. And then we'll go ahead and then we return something. Okay, so inside here, am I missing something? The method item builder. Oh, so I'm doing all of this outside, and that is why I'm having an issue. So I'm going to grab this. If you guys have noticed, I keep getting like a lot of double commas. It's my keyboard that is messing me up. So now that we've had that, inside this, we want to go ahead and return something. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and then return, let's say, a container, okay, so that we can see what we're doing. So let's go ahead and return a container, and then the container, we are going to give it a height of about 300 and then a width of about 200. think I'm missing something somewhere, so let's go ahead and add this. And then just so we can see, let's go ahead and add some color. So let's say colors.amber. I don't know if I keep using amber, but I think you can just see. So far this is what we've done, and let's go ahead and save this and see if we have anything to work with. So as it stands right now, we just have like this over here, okay, and that's fine for the meantime. So let's go ahead and then keep working on the carousel slider. So remember I said we are going to, where are you, the carousel options. We have a lot of things we can pass here. So inside here we're going to be passing in a number of things. So we are going to start with the aspect ratio. So the default is 16:9 aspect ratio. So in fact, I actually want to leave it 16:9. So if I actually do this, I am not really doing anything different. So there's no need to actually add that for now. So let's go ahead, skip that, and then let's give it a height of, let's say 300. And then the next thing I'm going to do is set the autoplay property to true. I want this to be autoplaying. And then the viewport fraction, I think 0.55 is a very nice figure. And then we can set some curves, if I can spell that right. So that's autoplay curve. So we have the autoplay curve, and we can use the curves fast out, slow in. So you can play with any of these. You can play with any of these. Man, do you want me to look for you all the way? So you know what? I'm just going to curves.fast out, slow in. You can play with any of them to see which works best for you. And then we can also use the autoplay animation duration. So autoplay animation duration, and play with this to your heart's content. So we are going to pass in a const, and my brain is frozen. I don't know what I want. Yes, duration. We need duration. Sorry about that. I'm a bit rusty. We need duration over here, and we are going to pass in seconds, and then we can say after 2 seconds, 1 second, just play around and then see what works for you. So let's go ahead and save this and see what we have. So as it stands right now, you can see we have these here. Okay. Now I think this doesn't look so good. So let me make this 1 second. And then let's see. Right, so that's a lot better, just like we had. So after these settings, you can see we have all of these images in there, and so far so good. The next thing I want to do here is create the curves that we see here. Okay, so if I come back to this container, now you might say you can use the border radius and all of that. Note that we are going to be placing images here, and sometimes you have this thing where the image would overlap the border of the container. So what we like to do here mostly is to use a clip rect, which does a better job. So I'm going to wrap this with a widget, and this is going to be the clip rect, and this just takes a border radius also, and we are going to use a border radius dot circular, and I think 12 will be a good starting point. So we have something like that. If you want, you can go ahead and play with shadows and things like that, but I'm going to ignore that. So you can kind of get the idea of what we are building. So I just realized I've missed a few settings. So I want the centerpiece to be bigger whilst these are smaller. Okay, so there's some properties we can add. So we can use the enlarge center piece, something like that, center page. Yeah, and then we can set that to true. This is just a simple boolean. When I save this, you can see we have the effect that we are looking for. Okay, pretty simple. And we can also use page snapping. So page snapping is for when we scroll so that it snaps easily. So page snapping, so useful for custom scroll behavior. And this is also a boolean, so we can set this to true. So it's not really necessary, but yeah, it's a property that is there. That's really cool looking. And then let's give this a bit of padding from the text from above. So after where we have trending movies, so before the size box, we can give a size box and then set the height to I don't know how good it will be. What's going on? So let's set this to 8, add const, and then let's save this and see. Too little, so let's see 16. I think that's fine. You can play with what value suits you the most. And one more thing, let's wrap this with a pattern so that we don't have to deal with moving this manually all over. So let's wrap the column in a pattern widget, if I can find it. And then we are going to use all, and then just set this to, yes, 8 might be fine. Yeah, I think 8 is fine. I'll just maintain this at 8. Now, if you wanted this to go like the entire screen, you can see the pattern is cutting a bit off. Then you would have to take this out of that, so in the pattern, so that it doesn't interfere. Okay, but this is just fine. I'll be ending this first part of this tutorial here, so that in the next tutorial, we are going to go ahead and then build up the other sessions that will be here. Those are pretty easy to implement. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.